jumping to the next topic. So we have some low-class players at Southern University going after my man Deion Sanders, aka Coach Prime. But Deion, he did a very honorable thing, and we are going to talk about it. And it's a great lesson to love your enemy. So you're gonna want to stay tuned right now. We're about to have a quality conversation.
Let's go.
Let's get it. Remember, hit a like for the algo. Because Coach Prime is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. I love Coach Prime. He's a good guy. He doesn't cuss. He doesn't partake in alcohol. And those are two things that I still do. So he's a better man than me.
Way to be honest, babe.
I mean, I won't cuss on here, or at least I'll try not to. I mean,
You
there's
haven't yet.
there's nothing that we do that would,
I
lead
thought
me
you
to cuss.
almost did on the Gen Z video.
Yeah, I got pretty worked up.
Yeah, you got
pretty
heated
worked
over
up,
there.
But I can filter myself for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can get into the cussing conversation. Hey, if you want to see a cussing conversation, leave a comment, please.
Please do.
Yes, that would be great. But we're getting into this video. So Coach Prime was basically asked about, so let's back this up. So the players at Southern, before their game a couple weeks ago against Jackson State, which is Deion Sanders' university that he coaches, they basically, a couple of guys, well, I think it was 11 guys in total, made a social media video bashing him, saying that they were going to yank his chain, saying that he wasn't all this, using all sorts of expletives.
It was pretty disrespectful.
It was very disrespectful, especially to a guy who has, changed and impacted the game that they're playing in such a way. Like, you're talking about a Hall of Fame player and a upstanding coach. And so whether you like him or not, you at least need to show him some respect. But Coach Prime had a very great reaction to, the whole situation.
We don't know. It's not a world in which
it's
we know.
not that.
Had you seen that video that Southern had posted
Yeah,
talking about
of course.
your game?
Saw it before the game.
And-
Our team seen it last week.
And what did you think about that?
God bless him, man. That's a lot. You got to have nerve to do that. You got to.
Man, I like how he said, God bless him. And you saw a little bit of a clip. And it was almost like a stand-up comedy train where everybody got in there like their one joke and they just kept passing the mic.
A roast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he is accurate. Like, it takes some balls to, stand there and do that, especially against a guy of his caliber and of his knowing. And it's almost like, what were they looking to accomplish? You know what I mean?
And they're just talking. They just wanted some views.
Obviously. Let's
Play.
continue.
You got to play the game. It's a lot of nerve. The thing about those videos, you got to understand, man. We do so much for not only Jackson State and HBCU.
Go ahead.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it was also interesting because they were like doing all that trash talking and then they lost the game.
They lost 30-0. They didn't just lose the game. They got destroyed. And actually, I saw like the first quarter of the game, and it was a good game. And I had no idea that this had even occurred. Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah, it's like he said, it's like, you still got to play the game. Mm-hmm. It's like, if that's how you prepare for a game, no wonder you're losing. Yeah. Because I guarantee you his players were, just locking in on the task at hand, being focused, doing what they need to do, being disciplined. Yeah.
Use. But you got to think forget how the players feel, because they going to just turn up, they were ready to go. But how does that make me feel? Because we have, The Rock and the whole league. Moose Johnson is attached to another league. He's the commissioner, so he wants to have like a pro day, like a trial there. So it's almost like, do I let those kids come to our field?
Right. That's fire. That's fire right there. Do you let those kids come to the field? Should he let those kids come to his field when he has the connections that can get them to the next level? Because everybody wants to go, to the NFL. They want to go big, right? But he has connections to the Rocks League, which is the XFL, which that could be a gateway, a bridge, if you're not quite good enough right after college to go to the NFL, or maybe you just didn't go to a big school where you got a lot of recognition and you do well in the XFL, you could get a shot at getting to your ultimate dream, which is the NFL. And then he was also saying that the other guy has connections to another league. And so these guys aren't thinking about, you know, how their decisions now can affect their future. And that's what's getting lost a lot. We talk about Gen Z all the time. That's what gets lost in Gen Z is they're so consumed with their feelings and what they feel in the moment that one, they don't think about their future, and two, it's just the instant gratification, you know.
Yeah. And I think that topic even goes back to the last clip with Anne Hathaway too. So
Right.
Knowing what they did, but you know me, I would, because they're kids. They got to learn something. But you got to think about those type of things. That's the type of things those kids don't think about. Because you never know who you may need one day to vouch for your character.
That's fire. You never know who you are going to need one day to vouch for your character. And that's the bigger issue. It's not necessarily that those guys did it. Like, everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that, you know, that's showing their true character. And when you talk about building teams, I mean, even in a corporate professional setting, one, that's not professional.
Yeah.
And two, it's like, you get a lot of jobs and you get promoted based on the connections that you make, right? And if that's how you are conducting yourself, that's why people who post crazy on Instagram, they may not get a job over somebody, even if they're, you know, a better candidate than person A. But if you have some trash on your Instagram or on your social media, or you said something crazy, then why would I, as an employer, want to hire you to represent my company when that's what you represent, right? So you always want to be of good character, show some class.
And it makes me think of like a saying that I hear often about, you know, treat the janitor like the CEO. Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
treat everybody with the same respect, and you'll get, well, you may or may not get the same respect back to you.
Right. It's just like, I mean, love your neighbor. See you, Marcos. Love your neighbor as thyself. And I always say or treat others like you would want to be treated.
Yeah, golden
because you're
rule.
going to be treated like you treat others. That's what I always say. So I kind of add my own little spin to it, but that's kind of how I conceptualize that verse. And if more people thought in that way and really thought about, you know, how does this affect my future? Like and this goes back to goals too. It's like, what are your goals in life? And are your actions aligning with that ultimate goal? Because again, what was their goal in making that video? Was it just to get clout? Oh, we got at Coach Prime.
Yeah.
Right. Because even if they say they win the game, right? They still made that video. Right. And
It still doesn't look good.
But ultimately, I think what Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, the man with the plan, I think he showcased an excellent display of what it means to love your enemy.
And why should we love our enemies?
I mean, you should love your enemies. One, because the Bible is talking about it's easy just to love your neighbors, easy to love your friends, your family, the people that are around you, but to not wish ill will on your enemies, because there's nobody that is too lost that, it goes back to mercy, right? It's like, in certain situations, we might have the power to, you know, just shut people out. We might have the power to, you know, just harm them in some way. It could be emotionally, it could be within a professional setting. But because we've received grace from God, we extend that grace to others.
Yeah. I was going to touch on grace. Yeah. Because, like, also, even though they made this very disrespectful video and all that kind of stuff, sometimes you just really never know, like, what's going on behind the scenes or what's going on in someone's life and all that kind of stuff. So that's also why you should love your enemies, because you just never know.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what he touched on too. He's like, yeah, those kids are young. I mean, they did something stupid, and, you know, that's kind of why I would let them come. It's because these are just young knuckleheads. They did something stupid on a whim. And, you know, you probably only started with a couple of guys, and then all the other guys are like, yeah, let's do it,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so some of those guys just kind of got caught up in the moment. But thank God for grace, and thank God for Deion for giving us this display of what grace is. And last thing we want to just leave you with is how to love your enemies, as Matthew 5:43 through 45. I don't know where that extra 43 came from. That's kind of weird. You have heard that it was said, and this is Jesus talking, love your enemy and love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. Mm-hmm. And I think that's great, because bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people, because we are in a sinful world where people do sinful things. Mm-hmm. And so good things can happen to anybody, bad things can happen to anybody. But as long as we're all striving, for God, for his glory, then I think we'll all be all right in the end, mm-hmm. in whatever capacity that we're doing.
Yeah. And this verse is a great verse to, pray for yourself, or not pray for yourself, but pray during a prayer.
Oh, yeah.
Like if, anything in terms of like someone was disrespectful to you during the day, bad relationship, breakup, whatever the case may be, like this is a good one to go to.
Yeah. And I think this was a quality conversation, and you should hit a like for the algorithm.
Like that!